Hi, my name is Zoe. I am the Tipsy Psychic, and today I am going to talk about the compatibility between a Taurus Gemini Cusp, and a Libra. So I am a Taurus Gemini Cusp, so I'm excited to talk about this one. This relationship is like an active volcano, always on the verge of erupting. You are that couple that writes romantic love letters to each other. You both know exactly what to say to make each other swoon. You may like poetry or writing or reading, and erotica is going to be a wonderful form of foreplay in the bedroom. Words are powerful. When you both don't have a lot of expectations weighing you down or a lot to take care of for one another, then things can go very smoothly and it can be very easygoing. There is this competitive side to your love, and sometimes the need to win can take over. Remember, winning isn't everything. You also have to learn to be there for your Libra and support them by giving them advice or telling them what you would do in their shoes. But you must let them do it and try not to assert yourselves into their life. You want to help them, but sometimes helping them means saying your piece and standing by in a supportive way, not trying to do things for them or fix them. Trust them. They are on their own path, and then they have to learn and act on their own. Also, you can be a hot mess. How can you help them if you yourself are all over the place? Libra would intrigue you. They have an eccentric personality. A challenge in this relationship is that you are both so quick to resolve your differences that you will rush to mend problems instead of actually taking the time to work things through and let things run their course. Always looking for a solution, even if it isn't the best one. You have a very psychic bond. You don't need to say things out loud for them to hear you loud and clear, but you are still very good at expressing yourselves out loud when you need to. Who are you kidding? You see right through your own bullshit. Doing something artsy, yet one that makes money, I know, might be a good way to blow off some steam. You forget that there is no rule that says that you can't try again. If you are struggling with your Libra, it might be a good idea to wipe the slate clean, have a blank slate, and start fresh. Tomorrow is a brand new day. There are beginnings everywhere you look that you can harness and use and start over. And new beginnings are kind of your thing. Don't take those for granted. They may prove useful in this relationship. Life is full of second chances. Libra has a different type of energy than you. And after a day of hanging out with him, you might feel pretty drained. And that's saying a lot because you're like the cusp of energy. So energy is kind of your thing. Their emotional nature is very changeable, and it can be difficult for you to keep up sometimes. However, there is no denying that you have a very special connection and you can communicate on a whole new level, and you both treasure that part. It is very unique and magical. You're on the same page most of the time. You probably won't start off with being in love. That usually comes later. But you can't be a downer. You need to try to stay positive. Your emotions can be all over the place, and you might feel pretty crazy about your Libra. Just try to tone it down a little. You also need to have a friend group while you're dating a Libra. Your social life will be needed to help balance things out. They may feel a little too finicky, and that may not be your cup of tea. You both get very lost in deep conversations with each other about a variety of topics. Even if you stop dating each other, you often remain friends or acquaintances, while the fire you shared may have sizzled out, something stronger remains. You have each other's back and you root for each other. You also still look out for each other even after it's over. You most likely won't be okay with someone shit-talking your Libra, even after you're no longer romantically involved. It just turns into something special even if there isn't a spark. There is nothing wrong with a little healthy competition. Just make sure you both feel like winners afterwards. You also might need to establish some ground rules to deal with this emotional chaos. Just remember that sometimes your Libra might be projecting, and what they say they feel may be actually very different than what's going on. There may be more to the story. In so many ways, you are just like a Libra. They can reflect so much of yourself back onto you. Your love story usually isn't a very long one, but it doesn't usually end on terrible terms. The heartbreak in this case is not usually as painful compared to a lot of other relationships. Like, it doesn't really compare. And this is mostly about like casual dating, not serious dating, you know, flings that I'm referring to. Because when you are serious about each other, you can get very carried away. Also, just because the spark is sizzling out doesn't mean that it won't be difficult. You don't need love to argue. It may not be pretty at the end, but you usually still remain in each other's lives, especially when it cools down. You both have a lot of airy energy, right? Taurus, Gemini. So Gemini is ruled by air, Libra is ruled by air. And so mental stimulation is going to be really important for this couple. And in that domain, neither one of you has trouble connecting. Your Libra has a strong attention to detail that you admire, and they're pretty good at being practical when they discuss things. Libra is, after all, about balance, and they're sort of good at being the mediators of the world, so they remain kind of unbiased. This really allows them to see things in a more objective way. And you know when a Libra is sort of imbalanced, also when they start to be very biased, when they start to take things very personally, it's not the Libra way. So you kind of can tell when something's wrong in that case. But anyway, that's like another story. You are usually the one with the creative ideas and the fantasies. This can keep you both mentally stimulated for quite some time. You and your Libra are both chameleons. They're the sign of partnership, and they're known to sort of lose themselves in relationships. It's kind of part of who they are. For you, it depends on the partner more. But in this case, you both must fight not to lose yourselves in each other. Keep your individuality intact at all costs. Like, independence plays a huge role in your happiness. So for you, it is a much less natural for you to lose yourself in another person. Codependency is unhealthy. Try not to let things get too complicated and bog you down. This works when things are fun and laid back. You usually have a very strong idea of what you like and what you don't like. It's really part of your nature, but Libras can be very indecisive. They most likely won't know as much what they want as you. This might feel problematic to you, but it usually isn't that big of a deal. Sex is pretty important for this couple. You both have a lot of passion and lust. The interesting part is that when you're dating each other, you don't pounce on each other. You sort of tiptoe around each other. You tiptoe around sex for quite some time. Neither one of you wants to make the first move. You can just be very romantic with each other for a bit before you or your Libra decides to make a move. But when sex takes over, it is very passionate and it is awesome. When things are serious and not sizzling out. That was one scenario, but this couple is capable of lasting a very long time if they can stay grounded. You may feel like you're more submissive in this relationship, and your Libra is sort of acting superior. This may not be your cup of tea. Your independent Gemini nature mixed with your stubborn Taurus nature doesn't like taking orders from a Libra. Most of the time. If you're okay with being more of the supportive partner, while they are more dominant, then that's fine. But you have to be okay with it. Marriage can work out really well if there is not another person involved. Love triangles usually don't end well for this couple, especially when married. Maybe that threesome isn't such a good idea for you. Just avoid that kind of drama at all costs. One way to avoid losing yourselves in a marriage is to always try to periodically give each other space, to be alone, and sort of regain some of your individuality. Plus, absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? Libra is usually not as comfortable with family as you. You will be more of the family person in this match, most likely. However, building a family together usually works out in your favor. You have the best dates with the Libra. Having an affair with each other while you're both already in other relationships of your own is not as uncommon as you think it is. You may in fact meet while you are married or committed to another person. However, if your current partner is really toxic or things are really unstable, then it is not uncommon at all for you to find yourselves turning to each other for love. Love for this couple is like, it's not for the faint of heart. It is a savage wildfire that must be tamed. Marriage usually works well with a Libra. They are usually the social ones, and they introduce you to their friends and their social circle. They may even help you expand your network. Friendships carry an underlying current, a tone of jealousy, and you may feel like you need to one-up each other from time to time. It also isn't uncommon for your Libra to be kind of like family or step family members, or maybe you call each other daddy or mama, mommy, I don't know, mamacita, mom. It's just something that can happen more often for this couple, especially with Libra being more of like the parent role, like the mom or the daddy. Or maybe you just like role play scenarios, very taboo role play scenarios. At times you can be very critical of each other, but at least you both have a very strong sense of justice. Your moral code is something that you have in common. When things are not going well, it can be hostile, but there's so much more to win than lose by dating each other. Both of you can get very caught up in your fantasies, and it really raises the sexual tension. The messiness can be a huge turn on for the both of you, and you may not be thinking in a very realistic way. You may butt heads, but you still play fair. Jealousy can be a challenge. You both know how to have fun. Friendships can sometimes be confused with dating, because you guys can like to cuddle or be more touchy-feely. You still have to dial it down. You have trouble finding a middle ground sometimes, but overall it's not a challenging love. You can be competitive. You are both usually geeky and intellectual. It's interesting how deeply spiritually bonded you are, but at the same time you take your time getting to know each other when it comes to sex. It is an exciting match. When you both learn to manage the wild feelings, it can be a really beautiful, long-lasting love story. If you are fully in it with each other, it is very unlikely it won't lead to marriage or happily ever after. In fact, this is one of the most guaranteed matches in the Zodiac for marriage when you both are fully committed to each other. And sharing a home would also be in the books. You both have what it takes to get through any obstacle, but there are still a couple to keep an eye out for. Libra can get really insecure and lack confidence, while you, Tauruses, can be a little self-absorbed. Your self-centered tendencies might clash with a Libra's insecurities. I mean, think about it. This is a very stable marriage that is full of spirit. You have found your soulmate in a Libra. This is a humble pair, but they have a very profound bond. Their love is a force of nature, but they know how to communicate. They may at times be caught up in their fantasy world, but much of it is due to their magical connection. Their psychic link is special. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are a Taurus, a Taurus Gemini Cusp, or a Libra, please comment below and let me know what you think. Have you met each other? Are you married? Do you want to marry each other? Oh my god. I want to know all your stories. Write them in the comment section below. I always read them even if I don't get to write back right away. I'm always checking them out. So thank you so much guys for sharing, and also subscribe to my channel. Goodbye.